This podcast is sponsored by Teammates, a football quiz app like no other. Link up Anytime Club teammates to complete lineups. Each lineup is a level based on a name of a real-life English club. Progress up the leagues and through the cups and win trophies. There is also a choice of modern and vintage eras. You can download Teammates on the App Store now, and there's a link in the description below.
Hello and welcome to the second Championship predictions from the Honest Football Podcast. If you saw last week's predictions, how hopeless we were, check it in the eye above. No, 1-1. It was just a friendly competition, Charlie. Moving on, we'll start with a Friday night kickoff. It's Brentford versus West Bromwich Albion. I'm going to start with Charlie Betts because he's very good at predictions, apparently. Charlie Betts, fourth versus first. How are you going to go?
Do you know what? I honestly think I'm going to go for Brentford again. I'll back them. I know. Before last Saturday we were a bit unsure, but they're free scoring, to be honest. And West Brom, I'm only going by the, obviously last weekend it was a stout performance against Birmingham, but they didn't exactly, set the world alight. So I can see only a Brentford win for me. I'm going to go 2-0 Brentford.
Well, Brentford at home is a tough one, isn't it, Craig? Because I don't know. I really don't know how it's going to react. West Brom obviously was a derby, so it's hard to judge it on that. I'm going to go same again for West Brom. Draw, 1-1.
I'm going to have to agree with you, Codes. I think it's going to be a very tight game. Brentford got a very good victory against Fulham last week. And I have to go with the same scoreline as you. I'm going to go for 1-1. Move on to the second 12:30 game. The first 12:30 game on the Saturday. It's Charlton versus QPR, another London derby. Daniel Cody, who have you gone for?
Well, Charlton, as I predicted, got the win at Hull. Not quite as much as I expected, but QPR shocked me and obviously didn't help Luton losing at home to Barnsley. So I worry for them a bit. They're inconsistent, so I'm hoping this week's going to be a good week. So as a result, I'm going to back QPR despite last weekend. QPR to win 2-1.
You're going to hate me for this now. I've actually gone the same way again of Charlton 1, QPR 2. So, no, I think Charlton got a very good victory last week against Hull, but even though I predicted a 0-0 and, we did say Hull were pretty hopeless, but no, I think at home, Charlton, I think they'll lose 2-1.
I'm going to go for a draw because I think I mentioned this last week, but both teams quite high scoring, but pretty ropey at the back. I just feel like Charlton will be buoyed from obviously what happened at the weekend, but as you say, it depends which QPR turns up. It could either be 2-2 as I'm predicting, or QPR could win 5-0. Do you know what I mean? It's sort of on a knife edge with QPR. It literally depends which one. But for me, I'm going to stick with a 2-2.
Moving on to the third game, it's 6th versus 7th in the Championship. It's Preston North End against Cardiff City. I'm going to start this one off, and I'm actually not going to go for a Preston win. I think Cardiff got a very good victory against Leeds last week, even though I said Leeds will win 3-0, and fair play to Cardiff. And I'm going to go for a Preston 1, Cardiff 2. Wow. Andy Cody.
I'm not sure which way to go for this one. Preston North End struggled against Luton. Obviously, I watched the game as a Luton fan, and they threw away 3 points that they should have probably had. Cardiff City, on the other hand, they did better than I expected. We mentioned the Leeds bottle job last week. We won't go into that just at the moment, but Cardiff were excellent, and I can probably only back them again. No, Preston are good at home. Do you know what? I'm sticking 0-0.
So I think Cardiff, the whole thing with Cardiff and Leeds was actually because there was no pressure on Cardiff. I think almost in a weird way, there's a bit of momentum now, which is great. But on the other flip side, people are taking notice of them after that win. And I'm going to go with a draw, but I think it'll be a bit higher than that. I'm going to go 1-1. And the reason being is that Preston, like you say, maybe weren't exactly free-flowing against Luton, but still a not bad side. So I'll go 1-1.
The third 12:30 game is Swansea City versus Luton Town. Charlie Bet, start with you.
I don't know. I mean, obviously, Luton showed a bit of resilience. I didn't see the game, so I can't completely comment on that. But there was a bit of resilience. But Swansea, I don't know. I can only see a Swansea win. I'm going to go 2-0 Swansea.
Daniel Cody.
This is quite hard to predict, actually. Probably of all the games, the hardest. Because Swansea obviously battered Middlesbrough, but Middlesbrough have since changed manager, which we'll come on to with their game. So I don't know how much to read into that. Luton, as much as I said they might struggle a bit more at home without the crowds, I also think not having a crowd away from home will hugely benefit them. So I'm going to be bold here, despite looking at the two results. I'm going to go for a draw again. There were a lot of draws in all divisions that played at the weekend, so I'm going to go for another one. And because Luton are bad at the back, I'm going 2-2.
I've looked at Swansea's result against Middlesbrough as a fantastic 3-0 win, three first half goals. Luton, on the other hand, defensively were better against Preston than they have been recently. Oh, it was a sloppy goal they conceded from Scott Sinclair. I think this is one of the games that I expect Luton to lose. To be honest, I'm saying as a Luton fan, it's not nice, but I'm going to go for a Swansea 2, Luton Town 1.
Heartless.
I know, I'm gutted. Picked up a good victory last week against Millwall, who lost 3-2 to Derby. I'm going to start with you, Daniel Cody.
Another difficult one to predict because Barnsley I expected to lose last week and they won, and Millwall I expected to win and they lost. So I don't really know where to go. So again, I've split the difference. I'm going to basically predict every game a draw this week. 1-1.
Barnsley good victory. Millwall bad loss last week to Derby. I'm going to go for a Barnsley 0, Millwall 2. Try best.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm in the same sort of boat as you, Craig. I think that because Barnsley played the Jekyll and Hyde that is QPR, they obviously caught them on a bad day for QPR, good day for Barnsley. But I don't think Millwall's still a good side, and some moments of brilliance from Derby. But that's obviously won them the game. But I would probably still think Millwall will be too much. So I'm going to go 3-0 Millwall. Interesting.
The second 1 p.m. game is Lewis Sibley FC versus Reading in the Championship. I'm going to start this one off. It's Wayne Rooney's going to score 2 instead of Lewis Sibley. So Derby 2, Reading 0.
Okay.
Cardi.
I don't know. 2-1 Derby. I think Reading might. I don't know. I don't fancy Derby defensively, so I'm going to go 2-1 Derby. But I still think they'll have enough.
Thank you, Cody.
Well, I said, obviously, quite famously, as a couple of commenters picked up before the last game, that Derby didn't look special going forward and struggled to score goals when I watched them. And then Louis Sibley turned up. But I'm going to presume that as a young player, he can't provide that consistency every week. And as a result, I'm going to go for a bit of a shock, which is Derby 0, Reading 1.
So why have you gone for Reading?
I just like them.
Nice kit.
Nice.
Do you know what? They've got nothing to play for. They can play on the front foot. And for a Derby side that struggles to get in behind, bar Louis Sibley, I don't know that they'll be able to find a way through. And it only takes one counter, doesn't it? So let's go for it. A Reading victory on the road.
The biggest team in the second city, Birmingham, they're at home to Hull City, according to Charlie Betts. They're the biggest club in Birmingham. Birmingham v Hull. Charlie, I'm so you because you like Birmingham.
I mean, obviously, yeah, no. I need to clear that up very quickly. That was a comment to jab at a mate with. I don't obviously. I'm being impartial in the whole Birmingham thing. But back to football. I don't know. I mean, Hull are obviously in woeful form, even up post and pre the break. Birmingham, not a bad result against West Brom. West Brom obviously a decent side. So I think Birmingham 2-1.
I'm going to go for a Birmingham victory as well. I think Hull have just been terrible since January. It's obviously losing those 2 players we said last week. I think they're obviously lucky to concede 1 goal last week, so I think they're going to do worse. They're going to concede 3. Birmingham City 3, Hull 0.
I've gone probably even more severe than you, Craig, because like you said, Charlton were a side in awful form, who they just about only lost 1-0 to. Birmingham are a good side. They have struggled for goals this year, not having Shea Adams and a few other players that are missing out. But it's Hull City who are in abysmal form, who will go down. You can mark my words now. Birmingham City to win 4-0.
Ooh.
I think that would be the widest margin since we've come back as well in the Championship.
Yeah.
If they win 4-0, I'll get you a Clive the Caterpillar cake, I think, for that. That's a bold
That would be lovely.
Big game at the top of the Championship. It's Leeds United versus Fulham. Second versus third. Daniel Cody.
I want to clear something up quickly here, Craig, because myself and Charlie had a conversation in last week's predictions. I think I asked the question whether anyone was worried that they might bottle it, throw it away, whatever you want to call it, based on the last couple of seasons. And we got a few pelters in the comments. In fact, I'd argue that myself, Charlie and you were all too optimistic in Leeds' favour because their result was worse than any of us predicted. And I just want to say here, I want Leeds to go up. I predicted them to win the league, and they're a club that deserve to be in the Premier League. But we're here to have an honest discussion, and we have to discuss that as it keeps happening every year. However, I do think Leeds will scrape their way into contention again by holding on for a draw, my favourite result against Fulham, and keeping a 7-point gap. So I'm going to go for the squeakiest of 0-0 draws you will ever see.
I disagree. I think Fulham were poor last week against Brentford, very poor. But I think these will turn it around. I know the lack of fans there does make a difference. You saw that looking at the results from last week. Not many home teams won last week. But I think they're going to sneak this one. I think they're going to win 1-0. So please, can I get this right this time?
They'd love that.
No, I think there'll be 3 separate results here because I think that Leeds, as much as, I think they'll pick up points throughout the rest of the season. But I actually think the pressure of Sunday, obviously with Cardiff, and I think, there's a lot more pressure on Leeds again following that. Fulham, obviously, what's the word? Not a great result, but I think everyone's back in Leeds and expecting them to win again. So for me, I actually think Fulham might win 1-0. And the reason I say that is I just think there's less pressure on them.
Well, we're doing there's less pressure. The third in the table.
Yeah, but the thing is that everyone's looking at Leeds, aren't they? Everyone's talking about Leeds losing to Cardiff. Are they going to... And I'm not saying this. Are they going to bottle it again? That's the general consensus in the media. And that must have an effect on you. And, they let one in against Cardiff and basically crumbled. And I'm just saying, if Fulham get one early, will Leeds crumble again? I suppose that's the question I'm asking. And I personally think that this Saturday they will. After that, when they play teams lower down the league, I think they probably will pick up points. And, there's nothing saying they won't get promoted. But I just think the pressure of these 2 games they've had, I think it'll be a Fulham win.
You are right there, Charlie, because to be fair, Fulham lost 2-0 at home last week and no one's talking about them going into this game. So he's absolutely right. But
whether they win or not, I don't know.
Well, you don't think they'll win because you went for Fulham to win. So moving on to the next game, it's Stoke City versus Neil Warnock's. Yes, Neil Warnock's Middlesbrough. I did not see that coming. Jonathan Woodgate got the sack last Tuesday. And it's been replaced by Neil Warnock. Very surprised about that. Thoughts on Neil Warnock as Middlesbrough manager first, guys?
Just really quickly, I was amazed at the speed of it. Obviously, they must have had this lined up because it was done in the same statement. But I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. You've got your own views on that. Sorry, Dan. Anyway, you go ahead, mate. Sorry.
No, I couldn't agree more. I just want to thank Middlesbrough for doing that as I was starting my live stream this morning as we're recording this because it gave me 10 minutes of content. But yeah, as we said, Warnock will keep them up. It just hasn't worked with Jonathan Woodgate. I'm sure he will be a good coach, actually, because from what I've heard behind the scenes, he's quite good, but just didn't work on that occasion. Neil Warnock will keep him up, and it's made this prediction an awful lot harder.
So let's start with you then, if it's made it a lot harder. Go on, what have you gone for?
I almost brought out my favourite result again. Then I looked at the sheet and saw I had 6 draws already and thought, I can't do it again. I don't know which way this is going to go with Warnock. I think he's going to get the result this time. Obviously, Michael O'Neill should be back, providing he's symptom-free. Obviously, he was positive for coronavirus before the last game. So hopefully he's recovered and he's back in the dugout and okay. But I think Middlesbrough will nick it by the odd goal. It's going to be a classic Warnock performance. He'll have them shaking the walls down in the dressing room and they'll nick a 2-1 win when they come out.
2-1 win from Middlesbrough. Charlie Betts.
I mean, a similar vein to Dan. I think I'm going to go for 1-0 Middlesbrough, and the simple reason that, Stoke against Reading, it was a sort of a bit of a nothing game, wasn't it? And they, last, I think it was the 92nd, 93rd minute, they got an equaliser. I think, we talked about a new manager bounce last week with Luton, and to a degree, I think that worked. I don't know if maybe under the previous manager, Luton might have crumbled when they went 1-0 down. I don't know. But so I think with Warnock, and if any manager's got a new manager bounce, it's Neil Warnock. So for me, I think he'll get, like you say, I don't think it'll be pretty. I don't think it'll be for the purist, but I think 1-0 Middlesbrough.
I've gone the absolute opposite way to you guys. I love Neil Warnock. I've watched the documentary. It's on YouTube. It's absolutely fantastic. We rated it very highly in our tier list. Me and Charlie did. But I don't think they're going to win. I expect a draw from them. I really do. Nothing special. Points. Obviously, they just need the points as well, Stoke. But no, I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I think that would just be fair. And the last game on the Saturday, it's Wigan Athletic in 17th against 8th place Blackburn Rovers. Both teams picked up 3 points at the weekend. I'm going to start with you, Charlie Betts. Who have you gone for?
As great as it was a result for Wigan, I think I still think obviously there's still some problems there. So I'm going to go for Blackburn, and I'm going to go 2-0. And I just think Blackburn, pushing for promotion, they're point out of the playoffs. They've got a lot to play for there. And I think they'll have too much quality for them. So I'm going to go for Blackburn 2-0.
I'm going to have to go the same way, to be honest, Charlie. I'm going to go for Wigan 0 Blackburn. So I think the Bristol City result last week, even though we pretty much slated Blackburn for not doing well at home or struggled at home, and they picked up the 3 points. So I think they're going to do it again. Wigan, to their credit, great victory against Huddersfield last week, who's down there as well. But it's the way to. People have moaned about in Germany about the away teams winning more games at home, but I can see it happening in the Championship as well. And I think this would be the case here. So, 2-0 Blackburn win. Thank you, Cody.
Well, I couldn't be more opposite, and I'll tell you why. Last week, I think I said, after watching Wigan's last game before lockdown against Luton, that they looked like they wouldn't score for a year, and then they were 2-0 up in 50 minutes, but there we go. However, Blackburn didn't struggle without the home crowd, but on the roads, I don't know. Wigan are another side who at home didn't have a great atmosphere, probably won't struggle without the crowd so much. And I just fancy them to do well. They're a good attacking side, and I think they'll push Blackburn back. So I'm going to go for Wigan to win 3-1.
Ooh, interesting. Very interesting. Moving on to Sunday games. Two games on Sunday. It's a 12 o'clock kickoff. Bristol City versus Sheffield Wednesday. I will start this one off. 1-1. That's all I've got to say about them two. Moving on. Charlie.
I don't know. I mean, Bristol City not far off. They're only, 2 points off the playoffs. They've got a lot to be playing for. I'd expect more goals out of them. I think they'll get a couple. I'm going to go Bristol City 2, Sheffield Wednesday 1. I know we spoke about Wednesday last week as well. I don't know, not in free fall, but there's something going on there. I don't know if we'll ever find out, but it just doesn't seem like a club that size, that well supported. I know there's no one in the ground, but do you know what I mean? Even sort of social media and all that, to be sort of struggling the way they are. I don't know. It's something weird there, but I'm going to go 2 on Bristol City.
I have gone for the same result as Charlie, actually, for completely different reasons. Bristol City 2, Sheffield Wednesday 1. Sheffield Wednesday started the season on fire, and despite a draw against Forest, which actually isn't a bad result in the scheme of things, they're in free fall, essentially. The manager situation was going on before the lockdown. There was a lot of talk, particularly when it came to Kenilworth Road, it was a talk as well. Bristol City were awful at Blackburn, but I fancy them to get into the playoffs, and I predicted Bristol City to go up, so I've got to back them. 2-1 Bristol City.
And we move on to the final game of the Championship weekend. It's Nottingham Forest versus Huddersfield Town at the City Ground. I'm going to start with Daniel Cody.
Yeah, I mean, I've had to go for a home win because Huddersfield's losing at home to Wigan. Not only did they let me down, but I don't feel that I can have faith in them based on that performance. So Nottingham Forest, a side that I'm almost certain will be in the top 6, and a side that generally have been good. We went to watch them in a vlog. We mentioned they were a good side when they got going in the second half. So I'm going to go for a fairly comfortable victory, and I'm going to go for the same score that Huddersfield lost by last week, 2-0.
Charlie.
I can only see a Forest win, to be honest. I think, like you say, that loss for Huddersfield, it's not going to do great for confidence. Although, obviously, say that, like Forest obviously only getting a draw against Wednesday, they've still got too much quality, I think. Got a decent depth in their squad as well. So I think I'm going to go 3-0 Nottingham Forest.
I agree with both of you. I can only think there's going to be a Nottingham Forest win. Joe Lolly, as you pointed out last week, Charlie, won the score sheet last week. So I generally think he's going to do well again. I'm going to have to go over the same scoreline as Daniel Cody, as in Nottingham Forest 2, Huddersfield 0.
By the way, excellent punditry, Charlie.
Moving on.
He's been watching Garth Crooks too much. And that's our predictions for game week 39 of the Championship. Do you agree with us? Let us know in the comment section below what you think the scores are going to be. And if you disagree with what we said, any controversial about Leeds or Bristol City or anything else, let us know. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And you can follow us on Twitter @HonestFootball3. And we'll see you next time.